My name is Daniel Hadermoda, and we're going to do another One Piece discussion, a lighter topic than the last one I had, if you watched my last video. Anyways, I probably need my hat. Now we can get started. Alright, now as we all know, after reading chapter 785, there is this thing called the awakening within the devil fruits, and what most people think is someone has some type of awakening, and something clicked inside my head. I don't know what it was, but I was thinking about the Whitebeard War, and in my live stream we were talking about the Whitebeard War, and then I got this idea. Like, it all makes sense now how Blackbeard, I guess, absorbed Whitebeard's fruit, if you see what I'm saying. Now, this is a bit of a stretch, but I believe it is true. Now, there is evidence also. Now, as we saw in the fight with Ace versus Blackbeard, his Nomi fruit, his darkness fruit, basically he can take stuff in. He takes everything in. And then he explodes and everything comes out. We saw that. We all saw that, right? Everything comes out. It's kind of weird how I'm saying it. And stay with me on this. Now, we saw him absorb it. Now, what if his awakening, he can absorb devil fruits and he can expel their power too. You see what I'm saying? So, his awakening, his second form, this is like the devil fruits Super Saiyan 2 form, but it took a lot longer to find it, if you see what I'm saying. Now, with this awakening, as I said, the curtain thing is still a little foggy with Blackbeard putting the curtain over Whitebeard. Personally, Oda did that probably to hide the fact that he wasn't sure what it was he wanted to do with it, and now he's sure. Now he knows what he wants to do, and he's probably referenced this for a while, and now what he wants to do is basically Blackbeard has figured out his awakening, and there are some plot holes with this idea, because why did the admirals not use their awakenings during the Whitebeard War? We would have heard at least something about it. Now, I have heard people say we have heard about the awakening, and it was referenced in Alabasta, but it was a slight reference, and it was never really said about it again, so Oda may have known what he was thinking, but I'm not sure, if you get where I'm going with this. Now, as I was saying, how did Blackbeard exactly take in Whitebeard's fruit? Because we all know he ate it, and he was dead, so the fruits should go back somewhere and sprout again. But what I'm thinking is, before Whitebeard might still have been slightly still alive, and there's a time period before this can happen. And we kind of saw this in Dressrosa, because it did take a while to find the Flare fruit, Ace's fruit, because nothing had been said about it for 2 whole years. That's 2 years. That's a long time. That is a long time. And we all know the world government and a lot of famous pirates are probably going after that. And that includes Blackbeard and the other Yonko and probably some of the other Shishibukai. They are probably going after it too. Who knows? Anyways, now onto the subject as I was referencing to. How exactly did Blackbeard use his awakening to get the fruit? Now, this is just my theory and how I thought it happened. Now, what I'm thinking is, since we all know, as I've said this, he can take in and expel with his blackness and his darkness a little. And what I'm thinking is his extent, or his Super Saiyan 2 form, you could say, is he can take other people's devil fruits. Now, how do you do it? Because the blood and all the devil fruit, once you eat it all, it's supposed to go into your body and bloodstream and everything. What I'm thinking is, we saw all those blood wounds and holes in Blackbeard, and it was censored in the anime. So if you watch the anime, I mean, you might have seen it, but it's not as bad. And what I'm thinking is Blackbeard, either he used his darkness to probably grab inside Whitebeard and grab his blood out and just eat a lot of his blood, enough so where he got Whitebeard's powers and he drained Whitebeard of his blood, because we really don't see a lot of blood on Whitebeard. afterwards. Now that's where the plot hole comes in with my theory a little. But I still believe that's what happened. Blackbeard somehow used his fruit to absorb it. We see this with his powers. He's able to absorb and then expel. And what he did with his absorption, kind of like he just ate a lot of his blood. But the thing is, we didn't see it on his mouth, and what I'm guessing is that either he just kind of brushed it off with a towel or the blanket or something, and you know what I'm saying? So once he took in all that blood, he was able to use Whitebeard's powers, and we know he can only expel for a certain amount of time, so maybe he's only allowed to use Blackbeard's powers, or no, Whitebeard's powers, I'm sorry. Blackbeard is only allowed to use Whitebeard's powers for a certain amount of time. And he's going to reach his limit soon, but we won't see that limit for a while. Now, if you get what I'm saying, so basically, Whitebeard absorbed his powers by eating his blood. He takes it in, but we see he can only absorb, so he can absorb a lot, but once he expels it, it's gone. And we haven't seen the full extent of the powers, and we haven't really seen Blackbeard that much in the New World, so we don't know the extent of Blackbeard's powers with this devil fruit. Whitebeard's Quake fruit. Also, why did Blackbeard not use his awakening during the Whitebeard War? That could have significantly made a difference in the war. I heard for an Everworld review, he said he could have made an earthquake around the entire Grand Line. The entire Grand Line. That could have made a huge difference. But what I'm thinking is, he probably held back because he knew he could kill everybody if he did so. That's the only reason I'm thinking. Now, Blackbeard, on the other hand, he does not give an F whether or not he kills everybody. And that probably includes his crewmates. He may have some love and compassion for his crewmates, but very little. Anyways, this is getting a little long, but let's just go over all the points again. Basically, Blackbeard absorbed Whitebeard's fruit by eating his blood and just grabbing it from the bullet holes of bullet wounds and stab wounds, just eating all that blood as much as he could. And he probably maybe didn't get all of the devil fruit because we've seen with his powers he can expel only everything that he absorbs. So there's going to be a limit to how long he can use it, and he's probably conserving it, and that's maybe why we haven't exactly seen Blackbeard so far. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Let's see how long Blackbeard can use this Quake fruit. Peace out, guys.